a stoplight on a busy street, you can either stop or continue driving and get in a possible costly accident. What option would y'all choose?
To stop.
Okay. Well, it makes sense that everyone would stop at the stoplight and avoid the possible accident. You naturally chose to stop at the red light, and your reward was not getting in an accident. According to Dr. John Magg, who specializes in education of treatment of adolescents, positive reinforcement is anything that occurs after a behavior that increases the likelihood the behavior will occur. As current and future teachers, positive reinforcement in the classroom is something we all have to think about using one day. Using positive reinforcement occurs every day in our lives, whether it comes naturally or planned. As a mom to a 4-year-old son, I use positive reinforcement daily to increase the likelihood that he will exhibit a positive behavior. Today, I would like to give you information on using positive reinforcement in the classroom, which includes the definition of positive reinforcement, why teachers avoid positive reinforcement in the classroom, and effective ways for reinforcing the classroom positively. To begin, I first would like to give you information on positive reinforcement. As humans, positive reinforcement naturally occurs in everyone's daily lives from infant to adulthood. Okay. Positive reinforcement as a concept was introduced by the behaviorist B.F. Skinner. Skinner's idea was that if a person was rewarded for acting in a positive way, they would see that behavior as the most natural way to act. So while positive reinforcement involves praising or encouraging students to exhibit a certain behavior, the results would be that a student would feel compelled to repeat the desired behavior. While we use positive reinforcement in our daily lives, teachers sometimes are reluctant to use positive reinforcement in the classroom. As future and current teachers, you can use this information about positive reinforcement on understanding reinforcement in the classroom. The next topic I would like to give you information on is why teachers avoid using positive reinforcement in the classroom. According to John Magg, techniques based on positive reinforcement in the classroom are often perceived to threaten individuals' freedom as human beings. Behaving is often viewed as something that should come naturally. Teachers are often reluctant to use positive reinforcing techniques because you're rewarding a student for a behavior that is expected. Punishment is easily administered and terminates a behavior more quickly than reinforcing a classroom positively. But is punishment more effective in students with behavioral issues?
No.
While punishment can be more easily administered and is often a popular choice for teachers in reinforcing a classroom, it is deemed not effective for students with behavioral issues. Overall, positive reinforcement gives you an alternative way to effectively enforce the entire classroom. Lastly, I would like to give you some information on effective ways for positively reinforcing a classroom. Positive reinforcement is only deemed effective if it increases the likelihood that a positive behavior will be exhibited after it or occur again. What may work for one student may not work for another, and it's important to find a common ground that all students can relate to. For instance, I know when I was in secondary school, I enjoyed when the teacher would hand out free homework passes to students who administered good behavior. This example is effective in administering enforcement to an entire classroom because most students do not like extra work and therefore would increase the likelihood that the classroom would display positive behavior. Teachers can find what is positive reinforcing to a classroom by simply watching what the students like to do on their free time. Or you can either give a survey to the class and make up their own. But it's important that all reinforcers can only be administered and accessible to only by the teacher, because if the students can access it, then it can be not effective anymore. While punishment is more acceptably administered and is often a popular choice for teachers in reinforcing a classroom, it is deemed not effective for students with behavioral issues. Positive reinforcement gives you an alternative way to effectively enforce the classroom. In conclusion, positive reinforcement is an effective way to reinforce the classroom. Reinforcing a classroom comes in many shapes and forms. What others may find necessary may be effective for your classroom. Finding out what best suits you and the students you teach is the most effective way to positively enforce the classroom. As current and prospective teachers, positive reinforcement is something we all may think about one day. Positive reinforcement is something that we all use in our everyday lives from infant to adulthood, and I know that as a prospective teacher, I will want to consider enforcing my classroom in a positive way. B.F. Skinner once said, "The way positive reinforcement is carried out is more important than the amount."